Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. I am DM Bloodworth, and as you can see by the graphics, today's video, I have been really remiss about finally getting to Adventurer Conqueror King system, or ACKS. I have owned this book for probably close to a year, if not longer. I remember when I first got it, and I did it as part of my, my mailing videos that I do when I get a whole bunch of stuff in the mail. And I had credited GM James for bringing my attention to this game. And I purchased it, like I said, probably over a year ago or close to about a year ago. And I just never got around to actually covering it. So now, just yesterday, I believe, I was, maybe even this morning, I was on Twitter and noticed that Alexander Macris was, talking about the upcoming release of the second edition of this system. So I said, you know what? Let me reach out, and say hello and, say that I'd love to actually interview him in order to promote the new edition of this. But in the meantime, let me start actually covering the first edition. That way, when the second edition does come out, then I will be able to do some form of comparison. So, so I apologize for not getting around to this, considering how long I've actually owned it. And really looking forward to starting to dig into this. And like I said, I think that it will be a really interesting viewing for me to start covering the game now and then take a look at it when the second edition comes out and do that comparison. So I think that that will be, some useful viewing for the subscribers. So without further ado, let's start taking a look at Adventurer Conqueror King. So, as I mentioned, I've had the hardcover here for quite some time. I have a copy of the PDF that I will be going through, and the lead designer of this is Alexander Macris, and then the additional design is from Tavis Allison and Greg Tito, and so on. So the art is by Ryan Browning, Chris Haggerty, and Jonathan Bingham. There's a webmaster, Tim Turner, and a whole ton of play testing. And you can see here the table of contents is actually very very clean. I mean, just 10 chapters, so that's going to be interesting. And the chapters are fairly tight, right? They're very short, and so that really allows for me to preview this. That really allows me to keep these videos nice and tight and shorter on the end of probably about 30 to 35, 40 minutes per per video. I am going to do several episodes for this, so I will cover all of the various elements of Adventure Conqueror King. That really does make it stand out. I know that this game's reputation, and this is from DM James, I recommend you go check out his channel. This game system is well known amongst our OSR circles as a game system that really does focus on domain play, which is higher level, more political, and more expanding the concept of a character as being someone who is a king or a magistrate or whatever, and having a vast amount of land and control, within their own personal control. So let's see how that works out. So here we have it. I will zoom in a little bit, and as you can see, there are, like I said, very, very tight table of contents, and we have the forward, again, linked table of contents, which I like. I think it's really important to have that. The forward, I am going to skip over the forward, and I am going to go, because that looks like it's a dialogue, and I don't want to spend that kind of time going over it. Let's just go with the introduction. So, about the game. Adventurer Conqueror King system is a set of rules for role-playing in a world of sword, sorcery, and strongholds, where you take on the role of an adventurer in an imaginary land drawn from epics and legends of the past. The Adventurer Conqueror King system provides a complete toolkit for enjoying a wide variety of heroic fantasy settings. It covers character creation, spells and magic, encounters and combat, monsters and treasure, and all the associated game mechanics necessary for sword and sorcery adventure. For those who prefer a pre-generated world for their gaming, we also provide a default setting of the Aron Empire, an ancient and opulent land drowning in a torrent of violence and from all sides. Ancient wars and wild magic have left behind terrible monsters that in this declining age can no longer easily be held in check. Confronted by the imminent collapse of the once great empire, you may be a scavenger and vagabond feasting off its corpse, a hero fighting to save what you can, or would-be conqueror intent on forging a new kingdom from the ashes of the old. Whatever setting your adventures inhabit, with the Adventure Conqueror King system, you can seek fame, wealth, and power by conquering foes, gathering treasure, and accumulating land and followers. If you are skilled and lucky, you may rise to become a mighty warlord, a wizard king, or a theocrat, holding the destiny of thousands in your hand. If not, the wages of your adventurers will be merely death. How to use this book, I will skip over this. The basics of the game. The game is called A Judge, so I will reflect that in my future videos. Here we have an example of the art. Again, I really find it amazing how different games have very different styles of art, and you can find appreciation in those differences, and it does set like a different tone when you look at some of these as well, and hopefully that tone is consistent through the rule book, and so it ends up being a tonal consistency in actually playing the game. So, you can always ask the question, which comes first, the game system or the art? I think that they probably coincide with each other for the most part. I skipped a thing, the basics of games, right? So, characters have ability scores, which determine how strong, smart, and otherwise talented they are based on their ability. Scores characters each will select a class, such as a fighter or a mage, which might be thought of as a profession, and which dictates what sorts of training and capabilities characters can develop. Characters have levels of experience, or class levels, which measure how well developed and powerful they are. Player characters begin at level 1. In a particular class, normal people lacking the call to adventure are generally level 0 characters. Experience points, you will find here, it goes into winning and losing the game. So let's see, I just made a video talking about this. No one loses when playing Adventure Conqueror King system. In the course of an adventure, your adventurers will frequently die. This is the fact of the game, but it does not indicate failure or losing in the sense that someone loses at, say, a card game. One can measure success under Adventure Conqueror King system in many ways, such as acquiring treasure, level of experience, or castles and followers. In some cases, a glorious death might be the greatest success. However, the one common measure of success for everyone should strive for is to have fun. Everyone can win at this game because everyone can have fun playing it. And you can, in fact, have fun in character death. So don't look at it as he's stating here, don't look at that as losing, especially if that death is glorious and, more importantly, if it's meaningful. If it does have an impact on the rest of the party and on the world surrounding your adventures, then that's something to be, treasured, in fact. And when you create your new character to replace the old, sometimes it's a good idea to have them connected in some way. And that way, your previous character kind of lives on through your next character. The dice, I'm not going to go into dice. We all know. This has a D2, a D3, D4, D6, D8, D10, 12, 20, and 100. So just a D2 and a D3. You basically roll a D6 to determine those, right? So as it states here, a D2 is a 1 is a 1 to 3, and a 4, 5, and 6 is a 2. Just as that D3, it's 1 and 2 is a 1, 3 and 4 is a 2, and 5 and 6 is a 3. So you don't have to break out your Xochi dice to get a D2 or D3. They're common abbreviations, so you're going to have the same stats, the same attributes as Dungeons and Dragons does. So this would constitute a clone of D&D, and so solidly puts it into the OSR. And so you have your strength, intelligence, wisdom, dexterity, constitution, and charisma, followed by hit points and AC and XP and PC and NPC, copper piece, silver piece, electrum piece, gold piece, platinum piece, and treasure type. So all of the very, very familiar abbreviations. Chapter 2 is going to be on characters, and I'm just going to do a real quick overview of as much of this as I can within the time frame that I'm looking to run this for, and then I will go into greater detail for like character creation. So I'm just looking for things that might jump out to me. So the core classes are fighter. There is a mercenary template to use here. So here's a mercenary template. Let's take a look at this really quick. So their proficiencies are combat reflexes and manual of arms. Starting equipment, well-oiled sword, metal shield, repainted many times, slightly battered chainmail armor, crossbow, case with 20 corals, military tunic, boots, backpack, 2 weeks of iron rations. All right, so that's pretty cool. Level progression, so very, very similar to AD&D or D&D in general. Here you have a damage bonus that is based on the level. Fighters have D8 hit die instead of D10. And so here we go, and then once they reach level 10, then they just get a bonus modifier to their hit points, so it just goes up by 2 points, and then plus 4 points, 6 points, 7 points. Hit points modifiers from Constitution are ignored after level 10, or including level 10 and beyond. All right, but their damage bonuses, as you can see, increases, looks like every 2 or 3 levels. So you have a +1 at 0 and level 2, I'm sorry, a +1 at level 1 and 2, then a +2 for levels 3, 4, and 5, then a +3 for 6, 7, and 8, a +4. So then it goes every 3 levels is a new amount. Fighter attack and saving throws. So here we have their saving throw bonuses or settings based on the very, very common saving throw areas. You have a mage here, and I'm not going to go into very much detail with any of these others. I just wanted to take a look at one, and we will scroll through. Clerics, thieves, and thieves skills. I always look at thieves, but thieves skills are same as D&D. Campaign classes. All right, so that's an interesting thing. I'm going to dig deeper into that later and see what that actually means. So assassin. So these are beyond the core, right? These other ones were core classes, and now these are campaign classes. So that'll be interesting. Assassin is reintroduced, taken out during 2nd edition. Bard is here. I'm expecting a blade dancer. All right, so that's a little different. I was waiting for barbarian, but I guess it's not there. Demi-human classes. So we have some classes that are either unique to demi-humans or perhaps perhaps they are yeah, these are all dwarven classes, elven classes. And then we go to alignment. Looks like alignment is just the 3, law, neutral, and chaos. Equipment, I am going to skip over equipment fairly quickly because I expect that it is going to be not very unique, pretty much the same as you see in Dungeons and Dragons. Nice, beautiful piece of art. And let's see what else jumps out. So hirelings availability by market class. I like that. That's something that Castles and Crusades does as well. So you could find hirelings, but it's based on the population of the town that you're in, and then there's a different chance and a different number that you will find in each of those areas. I'll go into much more detail with that because this is the kind of thing that this game is really meant to be geared towards. That's where the Conqueror and King part comes into it. And so I will spend the whole time just talking about that. We have basic proficiencies and starting proficiencies. I already showed you some of those with the fighter. So there's the general proficiency, assassin proficiency, bard proficiency, blade dancer proficiency, cleric, dwarven, craft priest, dwarven vault guard, elven knight blades, elven spell sword, explorer proficiency list, fighter proficiency list, and there's mage and then thief. Acrobatics. I'm not going to go into detail here. I'll do that when I'm creating a character, and I'll go through some of these specific proficiencies that I look at. That could be a whole video onto itself. Spells, again, I am going to kind of glance through this very quickly. Reversible spells. Here we have arcane spells list up to level 6. Divine spells list up to level 5. A different type of divine spell list for blade dancers. I didn't notice bards having a spell list, so maybe they're not a magic casting class. I will certainly see. I also did not see druids. Adventures. So this is actually a section on running adventures. I know I'm streaming through fast. I'm going to break down each of these chapters a little separately. For if not every single one, the ones that I do cover will be covered in greater detail, right? So let me flip this thing around and see. Nope, I'm upside down. Let's go. There we go. Mortal wounds. Permanent wounds suffered on a d6 roll. And then you'll have modifiers that push it beyond that on a d20. Interesting. What do you have to alternate flipping it? I guess you have to alternate flipping it. I'm not going to do that any longer. Let's see. All right, I'm good here now. And let me scroll out a little bit. So there's a lot here, right? So it's 271 pages long, and the scrolling is taking a little bit too long to do. Let me go back to the very top, and let's just take a look. So I was into the adventurers section, and you can see that's going to run from 91 to 113. Campaigns is where I think we're going to start looking at strongholds and domains. I will spend a whole video, maybe even more than one, on campaigns, because that's where this game supposedly really shines. And I've heard that from enough people that I trust that it really does shine there. So I'm looking forward to that. And then secrets of constructing the campaign setting, constructing the region, and so forth. So I will spend some time on this too, because I don't think that there's enough. I don't think there's enough emphasis on constructing campaigns, enough advice out there on it, and a real big focus on it. I think that a lot of game systems kind of just leave that up to the game master and the players to work on their own. And so it's nice to see that in the core rulebook that there's a section on both adventuring and probably adventure design, and then constructing campaign ideas as well. So the other thing I really like about this is that there's a core book, right? So this is essentially what you need, and everything else. I'm sure that there are supplements for this as well, but this is all that you need to run it, play it, and build off of it as well. So that's always a real big positive, at least in my view. I like game systems that come in just one, the one book package, because that makes it very, very easy to to manage your time and to learn a system, and then to create off of the system as well. So it's nice to have everything in one book. And so really looking forward to touching bases with Alexander, and seeing when we can get an interview arranged so that we can talk about both this and then his upcoming new edition of ACKS. So looking forward to that. And I will actually reach out to some other people who are much more experienced than I am with it, and take a look at some of their videos. And I know he has a schedule of interviews with a number of YouTube channels. So certainly going to catch a few of those along the way. But I don't want to taint too much my interview with him with any preconceived questions or things that I get from those other interviewers. as we go on. I'm kind of late to the stage, so that he probably has about 6 or 7 interviews before it comes to mine. So, I want to keep my interview um, fresh and unique, at least to me, as to the best of my ability and knowledge as well. So, thanks for joining. I hope you enjoy these upcoming videos. Like I said, I'm going to break this down into several different parts. I'm not quite sure if I'll get, 10 videos before I actually meet with Alexander Macris, but if I do, then great. He has a YouTube channel, so you can definitely look into that, and it's called Arbiter of Worlds. I will put a link in the description so that you can check that out. And I know he does a lot of videos on kind of world building ideas and such. So, highly recommend you check that out. I have mentioned ACKS before in a previous video when I was highlighting what I consider to be some of the most influential OSR game systems out there, and ACKS was certainly one of them, because of um, the reputation of the game system, because it is focused more on domain and domain play, and the big picture campaign style of the game system, and then his interaction with the community, with the various communities of tabletop role playing games, and really just putting out videos that will help other people looking to build campaigns or build world settings and such. So really excited about digging into this finally. So thanks for joining. I hope you liked this video. If you hadn't subscribed, please consider subscribing. Make sure you hit that alert button so you'll see as these videos come along, and I will be creating a brand new list of videos focused just on ACKS, first edition, and then when the second edition comes out, I will certainly be showcasing those as well and putting them into the same playlist. So you'll be able to see everything that I've covered with Adventure Conqueror King system moving forward. So, as always, thanks for joining. Have a great weekend. Sometimes I slip and forget which day of the week it is because I'm semi-retired. So have a great weekend, and I look forward to seeing you on a gaming screen sometime soon, or at a gaming table at a convention, hopefully in the not so distant future. There's a possibility of me going to a game convention in January. I'm certainly going to one in April. So January might be the earliest one that I go to, unless something pops up locally, and I'll definitely check that out as well. So have a great day. Take care.